Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday's guided meditation session at Vajrayana Institute. And I'm Wai Cheong. So in today's two meditations over the next hour, I will continue to explore different objects of meditation. So my thought is to introduce a variety of different sort of themes or subject matter or objects that we can use in our meditation as a way to support us in exploring the different kinds of experiences we may have in our meditation practice. So I've been doing it for quite a few weeks, and today I'm going to continue with that. First meditation, we are going to do a visualization practice. This practice came from Japan, from the Japanese Zen tradition, taught by quite a famous Zen master called Hakuin. And it has an interesting name. It's called the melted butter meditation. Melted butter. It literally means imagine this liquid, from the source at the. Literally, you imagine placing a metaphorical kind of. Metaphorical source of butter and place it on the crown. And as it melts, you imagine it flowing inside the body. Of course, clearly, this meditation came from a different era, a different time, a different place, where butter is something very precious, difficult to obtain, and it has great value, and it's associated with positive things. These days, we probably don't have such a good connotation or association with butter, and definitely the thought of filling up and your whole body or having melted butter flowing through every cell on the body may not be such a pleasant association or as a theme of meditation. So notwithstanding that, we don't have to think of it as butter, we just think of it as a source of goodness, source of something really positive, have the properties of healing, help to heal, help to replenish, help to regenerate the body and the mind. Hakuin learned this meditation from a Taoist master. He himself is a Buddhist monk, but he learned it from a Taoist master as a way to treat his, he has a sickness. It's a kind of meditation sickness brought on because of his, he put in extraordinary amount of effort into his meditation practice. He probably have overdone it, and so much so that he managed to unbalance his whole system, and he's suffering from a lot of pain, a lot of strange symptoms, and that actually prevent him from continuing with his meditation practice. So it's quite desperate in a way. So he went around to look for a remedy to somehow to treat all these symptoms of this. He probably has overstrained his nervous system by putting in way too much effort and too much pressure on his own body and mind through his meditation practice. So he learned this method from a Taoist teacher, and when he engaged in this meditation, it helps to rebalance his body and mind, allow him to be free from all those symptoms and to be able to progress further on in his meditation practice. So that is a good one to try out. It's quite similar to what we do in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. We visualize a source of that represent goodness, a source with healing power. Think of it in kind of usually I just leave it vague, but you can think of it very, and it's at the crown of your head. And from this source, fluid or liquid, or sometimes we use the word nectar flows from the source. And the nectar we're going to guide the nectar so that it flows through every part of our body, every cell in our body. And as the nectar flows through each of the cells, it fills them up. It fills up all the cells, the tissues, the organs, and bring with it positive qualities, and we can visualize those positive qualities in some representation. Usually, we can visualize it in something bright and radiant. In this case, as butter is yellow, golden yellow color is a good color. It also it's a color with very positive connotation of richness, of wealth, of abundance, and we can bring some of those qualities into our meditation by visualizing this nectar as in a golden yellow in color. We can also give it other attributes. Could be it has a sense of a feeling of warmth, something very soothing, very comforting temperature of warmth. And you can also imbue it with other, less obvious, but nonetheless very real qualities that you think of it as has the power to heal, to rebalance, to replenish anything that's been depleted, to repair anything that might be damaged or harmed. And we're going to imagine spreading this nectar, this healing nectar, through all parts of our body. And in so doing, not only does it affect our body, it sort of has some kind of effect on the physiology of the body, but it can also have a very good or positive impact on our mind as well. So that's what we're going to do. And let's get started. Good to choose a suitable posture for our body in meditation. So feel free to choose. You can sit on a chair like what I'm doing. You can sit cross-legged on the floor on a cushion. You are also most welcome to lie down on your back in the privacy of your own place, to lie down in the supine position to engage in this meditation. So make sure that the posture you adopt is one that feels comfortable and stable and does not introduce any unnecessary pain or tension into your body. Good to rest your hands and arms on some kind of support so that you can allow your shoulder muscles to be fully relaxed. And also feel free to close your eyes completely if you find that helpful, or if you're used to meditating with your eyes open or half open, then that is also perfectly fine. So let's start by taking a few moments, giving our body some time to adjust to the meditation posture, to find its way into the posture. See if we can notice the sensations of solidity, firmness, and stability, sensations that come through into our awareness from the points of contact between our body and the seat, our body and the ground. See if we can send a very positive message to our body, our brain, that in this posture, the whole body is well supported with a feeling of balance and safety. And when the message somehow managed to get through to our body, we'll notice that the body will begin an automatic process of releasing. The body in its own intelligence know how to loosen up, to unwind, to let go of some of those unnecessary contractions and tightenings in the different parts of the body. And the more it is able to do so, the more our body will be able to really settle down comfortably into the posture. So see if you can imagine a source of goodness, of healing in the space above your crown. Think of it as a sphere of light, source of healing nectar. Those of you who are used to some of the Tibetan Buddhist visualization practice. You might want to visualize a particular Buddha figure if that works for you. Otherwise, just stick to something simple, a sphere of golden yellow light, a source of healing, source of positive energy. And from this source, golden yellow nectar descends, flows through the skull into our body, and slowly, part by part, this nectar is going to penetrate, suffuse, touch every single part of our body, every single cell in our body, starting from the crown. So do your best to bring forth the appropriate visualization. No need to strain, no need to push or work very hard. Just be happy with whatever images that come forth. And on occasion, maybe you're like me, nothing much appear. We can always just rely on the words. Just tell ourselves this visualization is happening. The golden yellow nectar of healing, of blessing, spread from the crown, filling up the inside of the skull, filling up the brain, penetrating gently into every cell, every neuron, bringing with it its healing properties, the sense of warmth, brightness, radiance, and all its positive connotations and associations. And at your own pace, imagine more of that nectar pour down continuously, filling up the inside of the head, from the top down, flowing into all the different structures, the cells, the tissues, flowing down the back of the head, the side of the head, flowing down the front, touching the face, flowing into the various structure at our face, the muscles, the skin, the bones. Imagine as the nectar flows through our face, we also become more aware of the sensations at our own face. Are we tensing up any of the facial muscles? If we do notice any tension or tightness here, see if we can persuade the face to relax those tensions, letting them go, and welcome in a different set of feelings, a sense of softness, of ease and comfort, maybe even a sense of warmth, of brightness and radiance brought on by the nectar. Moving at your own pace, you don't have to follow my pacing. Feel free to ignore what I'm saying if it's not helpful or relevant to your experience. Just imagine the entire head, including the face, is now filled with this golden yellow nectar. Every part of the head is somehow suffused and touched by its positive energies. Every cell is somehow filled with that golden yellow light and nectar. Now we allow the nectar to descend into the neck, touching the muscles here, into the throat, allow the nectar to continue into both shoulders, flowing into the muscles, the bones, the joints, touching also filling up the spaces between the cells. So much so that both shoulders, the top, the front, the back, right at the shoulder joints, are completely filled with golden yellow nectar. Alongside the nectar, we become aware of sensations as well. Sensations at both shoulders, which may come across as unpleasant, as tight, as tense. And if that's the case, see if we can simply acknowledge those feelings and sensations and let them be for the time being. Imagine more of that nectar pour forth from the source at our crown, flowing through the head, the neck, into the shoulders. And now we channel some of those nectars from the shoulder joints down both arms at the same time. In our mind's eye, allow ourselves to see this golden yellow radiant nectar flowing, entering, touching all the different cells, tissues at both arms, flowing through our upper arms. Allow our imagination to fill in the details, and for our awareness to notice the sensations here at the upper arms. Allow the nectar to arrive at both elbows, penetrating the gaps, the space here, and continue down into the forearms. Eventually the nectar flow into both hands, flow into the palms of the hands, flowing into each finger, all the way to the fingertip. And now that we have filled up both arms and hands with nectar, see if we can give permission and allow the body to rest both arms comfortably on their physical support, to transfer their weight onto that support so that they can rest here comfortably. Coming back to the chest, we imagine more nectar pour forth from the crown, from the source, and this nectar flows past the shoulders into the chest, filling up the lungs, touching the heart with its warmth, brightness, radiance, along with all its positive, helpful qualities. Imagine more of the nectar flows, filling up the entire chest cavity, extending to the very surface, to the skin, the cells in the skin, flowing into the muscles, including the muscle of the diaphragm, into the bones, into the soft tissue. Also not forgetting to allow the nectar to penetrate the back muscles, the vertebral column, the spinal cord, As much as we can, we allow the appropriate images to appear in our own mind. If that is not happening, simply tell ourselves that the nectar is here, bringing with it all its healing properties, and simply allow our attention, moving our attention around, following the flow of the nectar from the chest into the abdomen, bit by bit, at your own pace, filling up the entire space of the abdomen, the entire abdominal cavity, reaching all the way inside, touching the essential organs here, and also all the way outside to the skin, the muscles, the bones. Allow the nectar to pool and gather at the pelvis, flowing to all the different powerful muscles attached to the pelvis, and also flowing into the various organs here, the tissues. Also allow it to fill up any gaps and spaces. While we imagine doing so, see if we can also become aware of the sensations at the pelvis, the weight of the pelvis resting on the seat. From the pelvis, allow the nectar, the golden yellow nectar, to flow down both legs at the same time at our own pace. Once again, touching skin, muscles, bones, joints, transforming all these parts of the body into something more conducive to healing, to happiness, to joy. Allow the nectar to flow down all the way past the knees, flow down both legs at the same time, moving at our own pace, slowly, bit by bit, approaching both feet. Along the way, imagine the nectar flowing into the individual cells, filling them up with something radiant, bright, healing, and warm, until finally the nectar arrives at both feet, flowing to the structures of both feet, all the way to the toes. And as we imagine both legs down to the feet are filled with nectar, we have also awakened the different sensations in both legs, and allowing those sensations to come into awareness. Now that we are aware of both legs, if we can give permission and allow ourselves to rest the weight of both legs comfortably on the floor, whatever physical support they're resting on. surrender their weight to gravity. From the source above our crown, more of that golden yellow nectar pour forth, sweeping through from crown, part by part, all the way to the feet, ensuring that every part of the body, every cell in the body is somehow filled with that golden yellow nectar, the brightness, the radiance, the warmth, along with all the other positive qualities. Resting our body in this posture, resting our mind with the body, with the visualization. Continue at one's own pace to visualize more of that golden yellow nectar pour forth and downwards, filling up the body, go through the entire body. Make sure that every space is somehow filled with the nectar, every cell is somehow touched by the nectar, so that we have not missed out on any particular part, any particular space. And that we have, through the power of imagination, somehow transform our body into a body completely filled with that golden yellow nectar. And rest our attention, our awareness with the final image of a body completely transformed, completely filled with golden yellow nectar. Return our awareness to the body, to the visualization, and allow ourselves to enjoy, to welcome into awareness any pleasant feelings that may have arisen, however faint they may be, any feeling of ease, of comfort, of release, of tension and tightness, anything pleasant. See if we can also welcome them in alongside the visualization. Okay, so that is the melted butter meditation. Under certain circumstances, a visualization like this can be very helpful. Of course, its effect will vary from one person to another. But the certain circumstances, just as the original setting with the Zen master Hakuin, this kind of meditation can be very helpful to calm the energies of the body, especially when we somehow be it through meditation or other processes, stirs up a lot of agitated energies. It's very helpful to visualize such healing nectar flowing through the body, touching every part of the body and helping to calm the system, to heal the system. So we can experiment with that. This is just one variation. The second meditation for today, I thought to do a category of meditation called analytical meditation. This is probably not so often heard about outside of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And as the name implies, it involves analyzing, which means it involves thinking. These days, thinking is regarded as the opposite of meditation. And a lot of time people come to meditation with the explicit expectation of stopping their thoughts, to stop thinking. And by that, I think that means certain habits of thinking might be triggered. Thinking associated with worry, with anxiety, with fear, or stress, thinking that have become very unpleasant. So that's why people come to meditation thinking that it might stop thoughts. Meditations usually do not stop or explicitly stop thoughts, even though as we go deep into our meditation, a lot of those involuntary compulsive thinking habits that we are struggling with, they do weaken and eventually sometimes they stop by themselves. But it is not a good idea to make the explicit objective for meditation one of stopping thinking, stopping thoughts. You'll find that it can be a very frustrating one if you set out to do so. But in analytical type of meditation, we harness the power of thinking, the positive power of this natural ability we all have to think. We can actually sing ourselves into meditation, because thinking is actually, if you think about it, a way of directing our attention. It's also a very effective way of channeling our attention. And so if we are able to find a suitable subject matter, and we can find a particular way of harnessing that power of thinking, it can make for a very enjoyable and very engaging meditation. So we're going to give it a try, to try out analytical meditation, which is often a little bit more difficult. Takes a lot more variables, takes a while to figure out how to make it work for each one of us. We're going to reflect on the topic of karma today. Karma or actions is a very important Buddhist topic. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to allow into your awareness, the memories, the awareness of the different kinds of the different actions that we ourselves have engaged in. And we mainly focus on wholesome actions, or virtuous actions born out of kindness or compassion or wisdom and generosity, or actions that is aligned with ethical principles. And we're going to allow the memories of all these different deeds and actions we have engaged in to come to mind. And we're going to use a particular method to trigger those memories, and also as a way to, as a support for our attention. So the way I usually do it is I pick a question, a guiding question to repeat to myself. In this case, I'm going to repeat a few phrases. These phrases I use it also in meditation equanimity. So phrases go, we are the owners of our action. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions, not merely on my wishes for myself. So we're going to focus only on ourselves and rejoice in our own wholesome actions that are conducive to our happiness, to our well-being, both short-term and long-term happiness. So as we repeat this phrase, we are the owners of our action. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions and not merely on my wishes for myself. So that phrase is just like a support for the attention. As we return our attention to the words and as we slowly, mindfully repeat the phrase in our own mind, we're using the words to stir up, from deep within our unconscious, from the store of the different memories of our past actions. Past could be just recently or a long time ago. We want to encourage and bring forth the various deeds and actions that we ourselves have created, that we have engaged in our life, in our lifetime, and to reflect upon them. And as they come back to us, as we recollect the circumstances, sometimes some of this may come spontaneously to mind. The images, the memories, the sights, the sound, the feelings in relation to whatever situations or people. See, we can welcome those memories back. And each time when something appropriate comes to mind, we recollect past actions of kindness, of generosity, of compassion, one of ethics. See if we can allow it to come fully to mind. Try to recollect some of the details, the context, the people involved, maybe some of the feelings and thoughts across our mind, just in a very loose way, whatever they come to mind. And cultivate the habit of allowing such positive things that we ourselves have created to come fully to awareness. And as that happens, see if we can rejoice, feel happy, feel good about it. Seeing that these actions, not only is this action creating happiness maybe for others, but it's also contribute to our own sense of well-being and may actually be a conditions or cause for our own genuine happiness. So as we appreciate all these positive deeds that we ourselves have done, and invite them to come back into awareness, we are cultivating a different sense, a different way of regarding ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, and also take this opportunity to rejoice in all these positive, wholesome actions as a way to encourage ourselves to continue in it and to see for ourselves, hey, I'm actually, through my actions, creating the causes for my own happiness. If it so happens that as you engage in this meditation, other memories surface, memories of our own unwholesome actions, of our own mistakes, our own failures, so to speak. Not to worry, we can also take this opportunity to acknowledge them. We don't have to dwell on them, but we can acknowledge, yes, such things happened in the past, but that's all right. We can acknowledge the reality, and for the time being, put them aside and return our attention to look at all the different wholesome actions that we have created. Right, so I'm going to invite you to join me in this meditation on karma, and for us to reflect and to rejoice in our own accumulation of wholesome actions. So just as before, take a few moments, adjust and find a suitable meditation posture for the body. So analytical meditation, which involves thinking, can at times feel a bit chaotic, busy. So to facilitate that, it's good to take some time at the beginning to consciously and conscientiously settle the body into meditation, to help to calm the body and probably also to calm the mind, to help them settle into a more meditative state, within which we'll find that it will be easier for us to engage in the analysis. So just as before, and as usual, become aware of the body in our meditation posture. Allow the body to feel that it is well supported and well balanced in this posture, that it is resting on a firm, solid, and stable surface and support. And at given time, our body will respond to this posture, and it can automatically begin a natural process of unwinding, of loosening up. The body in its own intelligence can start to release some of those unnecessary contractions and tightenings, adjusting itself, getting used to the posture, and really settle down and be comfortable in this meditation posture. And to further help body and mind to make that transition, to shift gears, to settle once again into the meditative state, we're going to make use of our natural breath as a support. So see if we can become aware of the sensations associated with breathing in our body. See if we can allow ourselves to fully experience the in-breath and the out-breath. So without the need to control the breath, we don't have to modify the breath to make it better or longer or deeper. Just be happy with whatever it is that we can notice, whatever is happening here and now. And as we return our attention to the breath again and again, as we notice the in-breath and especially the out-breath, see if we can make use of the natural out-breath as an opportunity to facilitate release. Breathing out, we can mentally, in our own mind, say the word release. We are reminding our system, physically, mentally, that they can release. The body can set aside unnecessary contractions and tightness. The mind can set aside the different thoughts, the words, images that are not related to the meditation. All this may flow away with the out-breath. Coming back to the breath sensations in our body, alongside the breath, let's check in to see how our face is feeling. So often we tense up the facial muscles unconsciously, especially when we're trying to figure out what sort of meditation we are engaging in. If we do notice tensions in the face, tightening of the muscles of the forehead, muscles around the eyes, or muscles of the jaw, now is a good time to see if we can gently relax those muscles. See if we can at least allow in a feeling of softness, of ease and comfort into our face. Coming back to the breath, breathing out, deepening the sense of release. Not that we ourselves are doing anything to the body or mind, but we are creating the condition through the out breath, through the reminder to release, to facilitate body and mind, to put aside unnecessary tension and agitation, and to slowly, gradually, at their own pace, settle back into meditation. So the breath will always be here. Anytime during the meditation, you are most welcome to reconnect with the breath sensations as a way to stabilize our attention if there is a need, and help us come back to the meditation. Now let's turn our attention to the meditation, the analytical meditation on our own actions, our own karma that we have created that are conducive to our happiness. So making use of a set of phrases as a support for our attention, as a reminder. So you may want to start with my phrases, change them if you like, and use that as a support. We are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions and not merely on my wishes for myself. Slowly, mindfully, at your own pacing, repeat the words as a support, as a way of engaging our attention in the topic. We are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions, not merely on my wishes for myself. Stirred by the words, the meanings, see if we can help to trigger and bring to mind memories of past actions. Could be recent, could be a long time ago. Wholesome actions, virtuous actions, actions rooted hopefully in wisdom, kindness, compassion, a spirit of generosity aligned with our ethical principles, actions that are conducive to our own happiness, both short-term and long-term. Gather the different examples as they come to mind. Dwell on them as long or short as you like, in as much detail as you want to. As you remember these different virtuous actions, see if you can bring forth a feeling of rejoicing, feeling happy at our own creation or at our own accumulation of the causes for our own happiness. We are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions and not merely on my wishes for myself. Coming back to the words, the phrases, use them as a support for your attention to keep us on track, to stabilize our attention, and use it as a way to trigger the different memories, inviting them to come forth. I tend to do it randomly. Whichever appears is good enough for that moment. Welcome in that incident, reflect a little bit on it, remember more of that details, and see if we can really appreciate what we ourselves have done, have created, and be happy about it. We are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions, and not merely on my wishes for myself. Coming back to the phrases periodically, especially when nothing seems to be happening, you're not sure, maybe a bit confused or distracted. No worries. Come back to the words and start again. We are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions and not merely on my wishes for myself. Reflect in your own way and see how our actions, recent or past, contribute to our experiencing of genuine happiness, both short term and long term. Coming back to the phrases, we are the owners of our actions. My happiness and unhappiness depend on my actions and not merely on my wishes for myself. See if we can not regard this reflection on our own virtuous deeds, good deeds, as necessarily self-centered, but instead think of it as an encouragement, encouraging ourselves to move in this direction, to continue in this direction, especially when we can see in our own experience that such actions are indeed conducive to our own general well-being and happiness. And along the way, if we do recollect memories of our own mistakes, misdeeds, harmful actions, or failures, see if we can extend compassionate acknowledgement to all this, acknowledging their presence, but nonetheless, feel free not to focus on them in this occasion. Put them aside and come back to the wholesome, virtuous actions that we ourselves have created. And then finally, gather up all this positive momentum that we have created in the past and present through all those virtuous actions, wholesome actions created, motivated by kindness, compassion, wisdom, and so forth. Let's dedicate this positive momentum towards the fulfillment of our own wishes and aspirations. We can dedicate thinking that may all these positive qualities or this positive momentum I created, may they stay with me, linger in my own body, mind, and heart, so that they can continue to benefit me. Okay, so there's an example of an analytical meditation, which I think, in my own opinion, if we figure out a way of making it work, can be just as engaging as other forms of meditation. Right. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention. I wish you have a good week ahead and hope to see you next week. Take care.